Welcome back, fools. Update. Here's the final shape. Not the final product, but the final shape. Somebody out there will recognize this. There's going to be very little opportunity from here on out for me to actually hide what it is. So here it is. Alright. It is what the lore that came with the game referred to as the Intrepid. A ship out of time that helped sort of helped a struggling, emerging civilization invent the thing that they use, that basically they reverse engineered a ship that came back in time from their own future a little bit to become the same ship. So it's a bit of a loop, if I understand the backstory at all. But it is the Intrepid. It is the only class of ship available to play in the game called Starflight, which came out in 1986, I think. And there was a Starflight II a few years later. I grew up on it. Look at the patterns on that nacelle, whatever, the engine wing. It set my interest in gaming for life. It set my interest in particular kind of gaming. The game itself was sort of not infinite, but it fit on one hard floppy 1.44 megabyte disk. That's it. The whole game. And yet it had, like, I want to say 800 star systems. Maybe it was 800 planets. And every single one was unique. And every single one that had life had unique life. It wasn't like, No Man's Sky, where you see the same patterns over and over and over again. No, it was genuinely good procedural rendering. And that allowed it to fit on a small disk, which back at the time was still a lot, but it was it's kind of a short game when you know how to play it, but you could also just play it endlessly just by exploring. And I don't know where I got my copy from, but I did not have the code wheel that let you play. And their response to that was, well, then the space police would come after you. And so what I'd often do, you'd get a certain amount of time. If you left Starport with the bad code, you'd get a certain amount of time before they'd start chasing you, and so I'd go find some new planet, and I'd sort of land there, and I would pretty much have to spend the rest of my period of interest in playing exploring that world, because if I ever left, I'd be murdered by the police. And I had a friend at the time, Randall, who I must have driven nuts because he had a code wheel, and I'd call him. It's like, what is the code for these 3 words? And oh man, he was probably so irritated with that. But I was a kid. I wasn't able to know those kind of things. So let's see here. Let's just drop down in. Sometimes this makes my stomach churn when that happens, especially in Arc. So let's take a look at this. I've got a sort of a thruster cluster, which is actually an interesting term, similar to the ones that were out on front. And if you can see the holes through to the sand, I've more or less removed those from the front. I might put them back in part. I might not. It depends. I will take this for a quick spin to see how that goes. Now, I'm going to complain now about burping, but also how much dang space this gives me that I don't need. And I actually have to start being careful because I want this ship to be somewhat affordable to mid-level players who want to subscribe to ships and use them. And if you can see here, I'm getting close to maximum, and I'm already at tier 3. Is that tier 1? Tier 2? Yeah, I'm already at tier 3. And I don't see needing 10 million, but putting in 4 units of tier 4 is going to be an expensive thing that will make this ship a lot less affordable for people. So what I'm hoping is that these engines will be sufficient to actually make this ship operate, and if they're not, I'm going to have some difficulty getting enough more engines in there to shore up the difference. So let's head on in. Come on, faster, or whatever. This is a long hallway. The poor people, the poor crew members who have to lug cargo all the way up and down I feel bad, but you know, I tried. You saw earlier on, I tried to link them all up so that there was one place out back you could use, and it turned out there was a cap, which violated the premise of the game. All right, so here's the front. I've taken a few things out. I've put this thing in as maybe an emergency exit hatch, but you can see it takes up an enormous amount of space that I'm not necessarily prepared to give up. So I'll figure that out in time. But first, let's see how this thing goes. So we need to turn some stuff on. Don't have shields. Do want thrusters. Pilot mode. I'll do that. I don't normally like pilot mode, but it's actually useful in some circumstances. So, okay. Take the external view. Holy cow. Ooh, I am surprised that it is able to do this. It's not very fast, but a ship like this, perhaps you shouldn't expect that it would be fast. Alright, so on the few thrusters it has 6 mediums pointed downward. This is almost acceptable. Side to side, not bad. I realize the inner thruster business is a little strange, because, oh, you know what? I don't have any real turning capacity. I must, because I'm doing it. I thought I removed them. Oh well. Anyways, forward, not bad. Gosh, look at that. I'm gonna... Oh, this is a weird... Oh, man. I mean, this isn't supposed to be... Who's that out there? Am I about to get attacked? Or is that a ruin? Kind of looks like a ruin. Okay. Not bad. I'm saying... Oh, another strange object. I mean, it kind of works as is. Like the stage 1 ship that I made, the Wanderer, I only recently figured out how to put videos. Whoa! I only recently figured out how to put videos on Steam. And I'm pretty sure they fell off the first day without anybody noticing because there's so many posts. The people are posting every episode of everything they do, and most of them disappear before anybody's had enough chance to look at them to actually get them to raise to the bubble up to the surface. Let's see, Alt. Whoops, wrong button. Alt. All right, let's take a look at this thing. So, I mean, that is consistent with... Oh, that is consistent... Oh, man, is that as close as I can get? That is consistent with the design in the game. I'm going to have still a lot to do to like fill in this area up here with, I suppose, cabins and offices for the head staff. And then I guess I'll give it a little bit more engine since I have some wiggle room on those. Give it a little bit more engine so it's not quite as annoying to get in and out. And plus, this is a lightweight, I think, planet. It doesn't have 1G. Maybe it does. But what about those planets with like 4G or 8G? The original... Holy crap. My understanding from the game was that the cutoff point, the number of Gs you could land on before your ship would get crushed, was 8. I don't think I've seen any 8s in this game. I've seen a 4. And back then I had to do so much work trying to reconfigure my engines just to be able to flip the ship over and take off again before, because I didn't have the opportunity to fix it on site. And I was totally surprised by that 4Gs. Oh, man. Woo. I don't know. There it is. Still a lot of work to do, and I will do it. Thanks for watching. Come again next time.